Every morning, the countdown begins for the markets with meticulous research and analysis designed to help you capitalize on the trading day. Beaming live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studio.
Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call. We are coming to you live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studios. I think there'll be slightly broader smiles. Indications of a bit of a thaw between leaders of both the US and India as well. I'm Prashant with me, my colleagues Surabhi and Nigel. Guys, good morning.
Hi, good morning, folks. Yeah, well, at least, they're going to start talking trade again, India and US, from the looks of it. Though you have the other issues, the geopolitical issues around Ukraine, and we don't know how that's going to play out, the secondary sanctions and all that talk. So a lot of moving parts, but at least there's some forward progress.
Well, that's right. You can't second guess what Trump's going to do next, but at least the commentary that's come through is at least we're getting on the table, and hopefully we come up with something. I think that's the positive.
There's a clear mark. There's a clear de-escalation in tone, tenor.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a rant against India, etc. It's not
brutal.
that. And this started almost about 6-7 days back. The first time we highlighted it, that it's non-confrontational in that sense. And I think now, of course, it's overtures, clear overtures that, well, we want to work with you, etc. So let's just take it from the top in terms of where things are at. So President Trump once again expresses confidence. So this was a soundbite earlier. This is a post now. So he's expressed confidence in India-US talks, and he's eyeing a successful outcome. Actually, let's put the tweet up, the post up actually on this is Truth Social, not Twitter, or X as it's now called. And this is what it says. I'm pleased to announce that India and the US are continuing negotiations to address the trade barriers between two countries. You can nitpick, right, and saying, well, it's about trade barriers. He's still looking for concessions from India on lowering those trade barriers. But, well, take the message. I look forward to speaking with my very good friend, Prime Minister Modi, in the coming weeks. I feel certain that there will be no difficulty to a successful completion for both our great countries. So that's President Trump. Now you have Prime Minister Modi, who's once again, it's actually the same kind of thing what we saw over the weekend, actually. Prime Minister Modi reciprocating warmly. India and US are close friends and natural partners. And if we can quickly put that tweet up as well. And this is just, I think, not even 20 minutes old, this post from Prime Minister Modi saying India and US are close friends and natural partners. And I think that's the most important line, which many have made, that they are natural partners. So this does not make any sense. I'm confident that our trade negotiations will pave the way for unlocking the limitless potential of the India-US partnership. Our teams are working to conclude these discussions at the earliest. I'm also looking forward to speaking with President Trump. We will work together to secure a brighter, more prosperous future for both our people. So that is, of course, going out from Prime Minister Modi here. And I think there's no other way to put it, but this is clear de-escalation in tone, tenor, and this is coming in right from the top. This is not, second tier, third tier officials or ministers sort of talking. This is President Trump, who essentially started this entire thing, now walking down a little bit, and of course Prime Minister Modi graciously meeting him as on the de-escalatory ladder in that sense. Can we say for sure that, well, this is going to be resolved soon? As we've said, no one can tell. I didn't think that actually these additional 25% tariffs will take note once they did take effect. The view broadly, at least I felt it'll get resolved one way or the other, sooner than later. Those are both the posts, one after the other, side by side on your screen, just for context. So this is clear de-escalation. It's positive for markets, and I think that's something to take note of. There is one more story, and this is being carried by CNBC. It's being carried by other publications like the Financial Times, etc. as well. Trump asking the European Union to levy tariffs of up to 100% on imports from China and India, what EU imports from China and India, to put pressure for both these countries not to buy Russian oil and to kind of put pressure on Russia to stop the war in Ukraine. So many are pointing to this and saying, well, there is this and that. And while that is true, I would still say that the main message, of course, is what President Trump is saying, clearly, very, very unambiguously. And of course, the response from Prime Minister Modi as well is very clear. I would go with that. This, of course, at the margin, it's possible this is true and this is happening on a sidetrack as well. But I think the message is that India and US are natural partners. All right, let's just quickly run you through a couple of other things. The U.S. Supreme Court is going to hear the Trump tariff case in November. That was, of course, what came out a couple of hours back, and this is crucial for markets. But we've also said this, that even if the Supreme Court were to say that all these tariffs are illegal, the tariffs as a strategy are not going to go away. They're very central to this administration's roadmap, and they will find other ways. They will use other sections, maybe more cumbersome to apply, sections like 301, 308. We've spoken with experts in this area. They're more cumbersome, but it can be done. But I think this is interesting and important as a sort of point in time as well. Now, overnight, S&P was up a little bit. The dollar index saw a bit of a lift. The US 10-year yield about 4 basis points higher. You had the BLS annual revisions, which further cemented expectations of a rate cut. After hours, Oracle, the last I saw, 25% higher, really bumper forecast as far as their cloud business is concerned. So that's the setup. I think the big one, of course, is not the overnight cues, but what's come through from President Trump. Now, the Nifty yesterday closed above the 40-day exponential moving average. And I think, if anything, what we've seen in terms of the overture from both leaders gives a bit more momentum as far as this rally is concerned, which has been building legs. It's been slow burn, but it's been building. And I think a huge amount of shots in the system, especially in terms of FIIs and index futures. And I mean, they were the second largest overall short contracts ever. I mean, I think some of that covering will start in specific sectors, which we'll address a little bit from now. So Nifty needs to close above 25,000, which is the falling trend line for the upside to build. Support remains the same, 24,522, which is the recent low. The Nifty Bank closed flat yesterday and there was a marginal gain, but largely flattish. Support here is the swing low of 53,561, but I think you should look up now. And here the resistance is the 20-day moving average, which has moved from yesterday a little bit, 54,733, and the 40-day exponential moving average, which is 55,130. Well, the GIFT Nifty should give you a sense, reacting to, these overtures, 75 points higher on the GIFT Nifty as we begin this session. The F&O stats with Nigel is standing back. Nigel, over to you.
Well, that's right. Overnight, you did see the geopolitical issues did creep up yet again. But this comments coming in from both Trump and Mr. Modi, they indicate that maybe, in fact, at least the US as well as India moving towards some kind of resolution, which is positive. And that's the main factor that the markets have been fixated on. So that's positive. What else is positive? Last few trading sessions, you look at it, institutions have been net buyers, and you like that. So that's a good data point that's come in there. What about in yesterday's trading session? Not too much movement, both on the long as well as on the short side. But the short positioning continues at around 91%. And we pointed this out, that the last few trading sessions, the FIs were adding shorts. Short positioning is up by closer on 10%, holding closer on 1.9 lakh contracts on the short side. But they're not getting follow through. Now, today, we're likely to see another 100-point gap up. So that's what's going to make those FI shorts a little bit nervous. Positioning on the index should come up for you. FI is net short, clients net long. Now, those short positions will be getting a little bit nervous because follow-through hasn't been got on the downside. And now the comments that are coming in on the India-US front, well, that's indicating movement towards some kind of resolution. Move to the options data then. The 24,900 call, 25,000 call, both of them did see good amount of open interest build up, close to around 45 lakh shares. And, on both those two strikes, the kind of open interest build up told you that some of these call writers believe that that 25,000 mark is going to get protected. Now they'll be getting a little bit skittish because the markets are suddenly finding their way higher. On the downside, though, the 24,900 put, well, that did see a good amount of open interest build up with the premium at around 130 rupees. So looking at the options data, looking at the technical levels, a couple of levels comes up for you. For today, you'll want to get past this high, the September 4th high. That's the high that we saw last week itself. So that's going to be the important mark. Resistance comes in the vicinity of around 25,000 odd. If we can get past that, I'll tell you what, we're bracing for a big short covering bounce. Reference point just for the day on the downside, going by the options data and where the technical levels are, is at around the 20 DMA. The Nifty Bank, that needs to find its form because you can't have the largest, the largest participant on the Nifty itself, largest weightage, not participate. So this 20 DMA becomes important on the upside. However, at around this 53,000 mark, we have seen some kind of buying. So that's the important mark that we're looking at. Since India as well as US are moving towards a trade deal, the stocks that got hit when Trump was talking about putting tariffs from 25 to around 50% or thereabouts, those stocks today will see a bit of a relief rally because the commentary is in the positive direction. And there is hope that we'll see some kind of development on that front. So a positive rub-off. That's why I'll keep an eye out on both these two stocks. They've got hit very, very badly in the last month or so. Wellspun Living, Gokuldas and other exporters as well. will be in focus. But, Surbhi, as last week we said, the indications were, maybe the feelers are that, in fact, we're getting to some kind of a truce between the two. It looks like that's playing out.
Well, it's definitely good news. I mean, there is good news coming in. And, several good points. You've got that FII cash market buy number, 2,000 crores of cash market buying, and we've not seen that in many sessions, plus the short covering that Nigel spoke of, and obviously this, sort of de-escalation of sorts. Just bear in mind that the only outlier situation is what's happening with Ukraine, because there have been reports about some, jets scrambling in Poland, NATO allies getting together because of some missiles that were fired towards Ukraine. But that's on the side. Otherwise, it's been good going. And Asian markets this morning, should tell you, in addition, are all a bright, shade of green. So there's no problem from Asia either. We've got inflation numbers out of China, and disinflation in China is only deepening. So that's just an additional data point to keep in mind. But